Good morning, students. Today I am taking Biotechnology Principle and Process Part 3 of 12th Standard. Here we are going to discuss cloning vectors, features required to facilitate cloning into a vector, competent host for transformation of recombinant DNA. So let us start the session. First of all, we will about cloning vectors. Those DNA which are used as carrier for transferring a fragment of alien DNA, also called as foreign DNA, into a suitable host is called cloning vector or gene carrier or vehicle DNA. Why vehicle DNA? Because it carry the DNA. So that is why this cloning vector is also called as vehicle DNA. The gene of interest, that is desired gene, is introduced into a vector to form rDNA, that is recombinant DNA. The vector which contain rDNA divides and forms number of copies of recombinant DNA. Although there are 5 types of DNA which are used as vehicles. They are plasmid DNA, bacteriophage DNA, DNA of plant and animal viruses, transposons, also called as jumping genes, and artificial DNA. But out of these 5 DNA vehicle, plasmids and bacteriophage are most commonly used for forming recombinant DNA. Let us see features required to facilitate cloning into a vector. First feature is that a cloning vector should have a relaxed origin of replication, that is ORI. In plasmid, there is a sequence of bases where replication starts. So this part is called as origin of replication. What is origin of replication? It is a sequence of bases present in the plasmid where replication starts. This is a specific form of plasmid genome that serves as start signal for self-replication. Under natural conditions, each plasmids replicates to produce 20 to 30 copies per cells. Any piece of DNA when linked or ligated to this sequence can be made to replicate within the host cell. This sequence is also responsible for controlling the number of copies of rDNA. This is very important. Second important feature is presence of selectable marker in the cloning vector. In addition to origin of replication, cloning vector requires the presence of a selectable marker to identify and eliminate non-transformants or non-recombinants. Here, selectable markers also selectively permit the growth of transformants, that is recombinants. Plasmids have some important genes like antibiotic resistant genes, genes for production of toxic substances, genes for tumor formation, and genes for nitrogen fixation, etc. These genes acts as selectable marker in forming recombinant DNA. For example, the genes which are responsible for resistance to antibiotic like ampicillin, chloramphenicol, tetracycline are used as selectable markers for E. coli, but normal E. coli cells do not carry resistance against these antibiotics. Another important feature of cloning vector is recognition site, or also called as cloning site. It is the valuable feature of cloning vector where there is presence of specific restriction sites where the enzyme restriction endonuclease make a cut. So, a alien DNA may be linked or joined or ligated to the vector. It is desirable that a vector must have few preferable single recognition site for the use by common restriction enzyme. If it possesses suppose more than one recognition sites, then it will create several fragments, or it will generate several fragments, so that will complicate the gene cloning. So that is why there should be one recognition site, single recognition site, so that from there it can be cut and the alien DNA can be ligated. In common practice, the joining of alien DNA takes place at a restriction site present in one of the two antibiotic resistance gene. For example, an alien DNA can be joined at the Bacillus ampicillin BAM H first site tetracycline resistant gene in the E. coli cloning vector. The name of the vector is PBR322. Here P stands for plasmid, B stands for the name of scientist Bolivar, and R stands for the name of the scientist Rodriguez. The insertion of foreign DNA at this site results in the loss of tetracycline resistant gene. Why? Because here the alien DNA is inserted by the recombinant plasmids. Such a recombinant plasmid, however, can still be selected out from the non-recombinant plasmid by plating them on ampicillin containing medium. The mixture of recombinant and recombinant plasmids are then transferred on a medium containing antibiotic tetracycline. The non-recombinant will grow in this medium, whereas the recombinant will not be able to grow in this medium. Why? Because that tetracycline resistant gene has been removed and they can be selected out. Meaning thereby that the transformants which grow on ampicillin containing medium are then transferred to a medium containing tetracycline. Here the recombinant will grow on ampicillin containing medium, but not on tetracycline containing medium. But non-recombinant will grow on both medium. Why? Because they have both the selectable marker ampicillin resistant gene and tetracycline resistant gene. Thus, here one antibiotic resistant gene helps in selecting the transformants, whereas other antibiotic resistant gene gets inactivated due to the linking of alien DNA. So they helps in selection of recombinants. But this process of selection of recombinants from non-recombinants is a very cumbersome process, difficult process, because it required simultaneous plating on two plates having two different antibiotics, that is ampicillin and tetracycline. So to avoid this, another method have been developed to find out recombinants, and that method is totally based on ability to produce color in the presence of a chromogenic substrate. Here chromogenic substrate we have taken is beta galactosidase. In this method, a recombinant DNA is integrated in the coding sequence of an enzyme beta galactosidase. So that the enzyme get inactivated. It is called insertional inactivation. Non-recombinant plasmid of bacteria give blue color in presence of chromogenic substrate, whereas the recombinant plasmid of bacteria do not give any color in the absence of chromogenic substrate, that is beta galactosidase. Another important feature of cloning vector is vector for cloning genes in plants and animals. There is one soil inhabiting plant pathogen and it is bacteria called as Agrobacterium tumefaciens. This bacteria infect broadleaf crops like tomato, soybean, sunflower and cotton, but they do not affect the cereal crops. When this bacteria infect this crop, then it causes tumors, and that is called as crown galls. This tumor formation is due to its plasmid called as TI plasmid, means tumor inducing plasmid. T stands for tumor and I stands for inducing. So it is TI plasmid. The TI plasmid integrates a segment of its DNA called tDNA into the chromosomal DNA of its host plant. The tDNA causes tumors as gene transfer occurs without human effort. The bacterium Agrobacterium tumefaciens is called natural genetic engineer of plant. Plant molecular biologists have started using this TI plasmid as vector to transfer foreign genes of interest into the target plant cell. So they use a version of the plasmid from where tumor forming genes have been eliminated, and this transformed bacteria do not causes any crown gall disease. So this is also used for preventing the crown gall disease. This is the figure of E. coli vector PBR322. As I have earlier told you that here P stands for plasmid, B stands for Bolivar and the name of the scientist, and R also stands for the name of the scientist, namely Rodriguez. Both of them artificially constructed this cloning vector in the year 1977. It is having restriction sites like Hind 3, Eco RI, R first, VAM, H first, SAL first, PVU second, PST first, CLA first. So these are all the restriction site. Along with this, ORI, origin of replication, and antibiotic resistant gene like AMPR and TETR. AMPR is ampicillin resistant and TETR is tetracycline resistant. So these two genes are also present, which are used as selectable marker. ROP codes for protein involved in the replication of plasmids. Now the last topic of this session is competent host for transformation with recombinant DNA. As we know that deoxyribonucleic acid is hydrophilic molecule, water loving molecule, and cannot pass directly through the cell membrane. So certain treatments are required in the host cell so that they become competent to take up the DNA. So there are several methods to introduce the ligated DNA into the recipient cells. The methods may be chemical or physical. So now let us see what are the different methods. First method is chemical method. This is done by treating host with a specific concentration of a divalent cation such as calcium that increases the efficiency with which DNA enters the bacterium through pores in its cell wall. DNA can be forced into such cell by incubating the cell with recombinant DNA on ice, followed by placing them briefly at 42 degrees Celsius and then again putting them back on ice. This technique helps the bacteria to take up the recombinant DNA. Next method is microinjection. In this method, the DNA solution is injected directly into the cell using capillary glass micropipettes or microsyringe. This technique was originally used in animal cells, but now it is applied in case of plant cell also. It requires great technical skills because while injecting, many cells die during this process. Another method is biolistics or gene gun. It is called as biolistics or gene gun. It involves shooting foreign DNA into plant cell at a very high velocity. In this method, 1 to 2 micrometer gold or tungsten particles coated with DNA are shooted into the plant cell using a helium pressure particle gun device. Wheat, rice and maize plants are transformed by this method. Means transgenic plants of this wheat, rice, maize are already done. Last method to make host competent is by disarmed pathogen vectors, which when allowed infecting the cell, they transfer the recombinant DNA into the host. Here you may observe the figure of that gene gun and also the micro injection. So this is all about today's session. Thank you, and for any kind of doubts, please write your questions in comment